All right, welcome back everybody to another edition of Dollar Bin Digging. This is the video and article that I do for comicbookinvest.com where I talk about those little hidden treasures, those little books you can still dig out of those cheap boxes, those cheap comic bins, those dollar boxes, whether it be discount bins, whatever that might be, wherever you find your cheap comics. These are the things that I think you should be looking for based on this week's most recent news and like announcements and things of that sort. Hopefully you enjoy this series as well as all the other things here on Rennavision. Let me know what you think in the comments. Please like, subscribe, hit the alert button so you don't miss anything. Continue to tell your friends so we can keep growing the channel and doing more and more things for you. And with that said, if you want to see what books I'm talking about this week, just hang on for a few seconds after the intro and I'll be right back. All right, so as we've been doing these last few weeks, I am going to be covering some books based on some of the recent news, rumors, announcements, and speculation related to both a little bit of Marvel and a little bit of DC as we go through what's been talked about, this upcoming, or I should say this past week, not upcoming, but the past week. And we're going to start with last week's announcement that Marvel is going to be doing something with the character of Nova. We don't know if it yet, if it's going to be a TV show on Disney Plus, whether it's going to be a movie, like a full-length feature, whatever it may be. All we know is, as been rumored for a while, but we got a little bit more confirmation that we are getting Nova in something. Now, personally, I think I don't know which one we're going to get. I don't know if it's going to be Richard Rider or Sam Alexander to start. But I really feel, and if you watch this past week's tax show, we talked a little bit about this, and I really do feel at some point, regardless if it's from the start or later, we're going to get them both. I think it's going to happen. We're going to get that meeting, that meetup, one way or another. Now, there is some information out there that points towards this book here, this Nova number 11 being the first meeting of Richard Rider and Sam Alexander. But if you actually open up the book and take a look, that actually isn't the case. So this isn't the book that you want if that's what you're looking for. I'm not saying this book is unimportant or is an interesting book in and of itself, because it is. This book does have Sam meeting the world mind. Well, actually, he kind of meets it, I guess, at the tail end of 10, but in this, he's discussing with the world mind, which is like the amalgamation, like all of the Nova's memories and knowledge and everything is encompassed in this kind of like a program that is basically, the world mind for the Nova Corps. And this is who Sam is meeting. It's not Richard Rider. Richard Rider's one of the many consciousnesses that are in there and memories and everything, but it is not actually Richard Rider, who does appear at the end of this issue. So it is the return of Richard Rider into the Marvel universe, I guess, again, the 616, but they don't meet. They don't meet in this issue, so that's not the one you really want to look for. And yes, that book is, if you do find it a dollar bin, sure, still pick it up because it's probably like 10 to 15 bucks still. And again, it's an interesting comic, but it is not the first meeting of the two. The first actual meeting of the two happens in the next volume, because that was the final issue. A couple issues later, in Nova number 2, I think this is volume 7, this is where we're actually going to see these two actually meet up. I talked a little bit about this book on Chasing Ghosts last week because I did purchase the variant for this book. There's a 1 in 25 that I really like because it's a really cool cover. And considering this is the first meeting, I think this is the book people will look at eventually when this moment happens. When we get these two Novas meeting for the first time, I think people will look at this book. So keep an eye out for this one if you're out there hunting as well. But getting back to just the regular issue, this thing is still pretty cheap. You can find it out there. And again, this is where we actually see the two people, the two characters, Richard Rider and Sam Alexander, actually running into each other, quite literally, in this issue. And they even later on in the issue introduce, hi, I'm Sam, I'm Richard. Like, they introduce themselves to each other. So this is really, truthfully, their first meeting. So if that's what you're looking for, this is the book that you want to go for. And you can see it's still pretty cheap. March 21st, one sold on eBay for $1.60. $1.60. So it's even basically a dollar book, even online, based on what's been sold. And copies out there, basically a cover price, $5 at the most, like $4.50, $5. That's what the asking prices are. It's not a pricey book. And like I said, this is one you can still find tucked away in some of those back issue bins, those cheap boxes, the dollar bins. So this volume of Nova, you can still find this one out there for pretty cheap. One reason or another, it's just not one of the more sought after runs for the character, especially Sam Alexander. So you can find these for cheap. So if you're looking for that, this is the book you want to go looking for. hop on over to DC with our next little bit of news. While there was announcements of Sharon Stone joining the Blue Beetle movie, kind of buried behind that is that this Mayans star is also going to be in there as the villain, or another one of the villains, I guess you could say. It's like Carapax, if I'm saying the character's name properly. That's who he's going to be playing. Carapax, the indestructible man. Again, you're going to get kind of a similar armor versus armor kind of battle going on here. Now, technically, the character first appears in the first issue of Blue Beetle #1 from back in the 80s. So this is the book that it's still, you might be able to find it out there for cheap. This is like $10. So you might be able to find it in a dollar bin, but considering it's a #1, it's Blue Beetle, people probably have grabbed this one out of there already. But if you see it, obviously go and grab it. But this is like the character not armored up, not the actual villain yet. It's just the alter ego is kind of scattered throughout this first few issues of Blue Beetle. But it isn't until we get to when Blue Beetle goes back to Pago Island, if I'm saying that one right. Issues 14 and 15 are the ones that I think you'll still be able to find in those dollar boxes. And this is where we're actually getting a good look at the villain. 14, he shows up here at the tail end of it in classic like Hulk 180 form, where it's just kind of last page kind of splash. There we go. There's Carapax, the indestructible man, showing up, bursting onto the scene to do battle with Blue Beetle. Granted, this was the Ted Kord Blue Beetle and not the Jamie Alexander one that we're going to be getting in the film, but this is the villain, and this is the one to keep an eye out for. And then we do get him on the cover, which is why I think the next book is also an interesting one to look for on the issue of 15. So you get Carapax on the cover for the first time, actually fully suited up as the villain that we're going to see in this movie. Again, this is a pretty cheap book. Both of these are still pretty cheap. Look, $1.65. This is sold for recently. That was on March 9th. And on March 8th, you can see $3.25, a 10-issue run of Blue Beetle, including both of the issues that I just talked about with 14 and 15 in that lot for $3.25. These are things that are just filling up those back issue cheap bins, those dollar bins. So go ahead and scoop them out of there. And who knows? Who knows if it's ever going to amount to anything as far as in the aftermarket, but for the price I'm talking about, picking these things up for $1, I think it's worth taking a shot. And when we look at what's actually asking prices for both of them, you can find there are more expensive copies. There are some $10 asking prices right now, but there are copies available for like $2 online. So that's why I put these up here. So $2 a piece for 14 or 15. You could still get them pretty cheap online, though there are some higher asking prices right now. I mean, once these cheaper ones clear out, then who knows where the price is going to kind of end up. But just go and find these for cheap. Look in the dollar bins, see if you can find them, because who knows, like I said. Moving back on, we're going to go bounce back and forth. We're going to do a little bit of a tennis action, and we're going to bounce back over to Marvel for the next one. And a few months ago, this heated up because we did have another version of a Spider Hulk. There was a one-shot, one issue. So that kind of made this next pick kind of pop a little bit a few months ago, and it's also kind of a well-known book. But we are getting another Spider Hulk on a new variant cover coming up soon for, I think it's Hulk issue 6. So we're going to get this. This is actually Peter Parker as a Hulk, not Hulk as Spider-Man, if that makes sense to you. But so this is a Hulk, a Hulkized or whatever, a hulked out Peter Parker. So it's a Spider-Man Hulk, not Bruce Banner being a Spider-Man. That's what I was trying to get at. And if you want to talk about Spider Hulk, we got to go back to Web 70, which again, it is a well-known issue. And like I said, it's heated up before. There's even an action figure for this character out there to keep an eye out for that actually does pretty well if you can find it. One of those Marvel figures. But in case you can still find it, just keep an eye out for it. That's all I'm saying. It's probably going to be a tougher find because, like I said, this thing is heated up a couple times before. So it might be hard to dig out of the cheap boxes, but things are cyclical. You never know what you might find in new stock in new boxes. So just be mindful of it. Because you could see it could be cheap. You could find it $7.25 or $25 to buy it now. So that auction ended on March 30th, just yesterday, as well as that buy it now for $25 ended yesterday. And if you want to look at what prices are asking for right now, well, it's kind of in that $25 to $30 range. So as I said, it's kind of a known book, so you finding it for $1 may not be the easiest task that I set forth for you, but doesn't mean you can't be mindful of it and be aware that this book is still out there. So just keep an eye out for it. Now, bouncing back, we're going to go back to DC. with some casting news for Stargirl. So the upcoming season of Stargirl, season 3. I can't believe they're already up to season 3. I feel like that show is still brand new because I haven't checked it out yet. But Stargirl has cast Obsidian, who is Green Lantern's son, the Alan Scott Green Lantern. The Golden Age Green Lantern had 2 children, Jade and Obsidian. We've already seen Jade on the show. She's already been cast, so now they're casting Obsidian, and he is showing up on this next new season of Stargirl. Now, their first appearance, they appeared in the same book together, is All-Star Squadron 25. This book has already gotten a little bit expensive because this is also the first appearance of Atom Smasher, so everybody raced to go pick this one up back when Atom Smasher was cast for the Black Adam movie. So this one you're probably not going to find for cheap, but be aware of it. This is their first, as well as Atom Smasher's first. So there's a lot of firsts in this book because this is actually the first appearance of Infinity Incorporated, this team. So this is one, if you can find it for cheap, even if it's not $1, something to consider because there's a lot of first appearances in it. So when you get those multiple bites at the apple, I like firsts like that where you're getting more than one first. It makes the book a little bit more interesting and gives it a lot of a little extra. So as I mentioned, Infinity Incorporated first appeared in this All-Star Squadron 25. So you might as well just keep an eye out for Infinity Incorporated #1. Again, these two, brother and sister, are members of this team. You see, you got Huntress there, you got Power Girl, Atom Smasher. Interesting, fun little team. They were kind of like a Teen Titans-ish, X-Men, like composite kind of thing. Just kind of that young team out there, doing their superhero thing. Now, this book can still sell for, let's see, $10, $8 with free shipping. So that's a couple bucks when you figure shipping's also in there. So $8. It's not that expensive of a book even now. And if you want to go shopping for one, well, you can find a pair of copies for $5 or single issues for like $4 and $6. So it's like a $5 book at best. So you might still be able to scoop it out of those dollar bins if you can find it there. Now, this is one I think you should be mindful of because, again, with Obsidian being on the team, but you also want to kind of keep an eye out for this, I think, issue 33 I want to throw out there because this is giving you the origin of Obsidian. So we're getting a character. He's going to show up on a show. Maybe you want this origin issue, which is also a little bit of a footnote that this is part of the Todd McFarlane run on Infinity Incorporated because he did a good chunk of this run. He did the art on this series. So if you weren't aware, this is some early Todd McFarlane art before, his Spidey days. He was over at DC doing this. You can even see he signed it on the cover. Not the familiar McFarlane signature that you're used to seeing, but his signature nonetheless. So this issue 33 is again, like I said, the origin of Obsidian. So one just keep an eye out for. And again, this is not an expensive book. Even online, it's selling for $2, $2.50. So it's not expensive. This is the cheap stuff I'm talking about. Who knows where it's going to go? I'm not saying this is going to become anything. I'm just kind of saying this is a fun book to go scavenger hunt when you're out there digging. Like, well, why not? It'll cost you $1. Like, just take a shot or less. If you have 50-cent books or quarter bins, I don't know what you have in your area or your shops, but this is just like a cheap book to go and grab if you find it for cheap. I'm not saying go pay the market, which is all of $2.50 up to like $5 or $6. Not even saying spend that on this. I'm just saying fun little book, something to go hunt, something to be aware of when you're out there digging. In case you find yourself flipping through an Infinity Incorporated run, I mean, grab a few of those issues because, like I said, it's early McFarlane. A couple of the covers are all right. He still hasn't really found his groove yet, but you can see the early Spawn, showing a little bit in this Obsidian cover. Now, and even though she's already been cast and she's already been on the show, she was on season 2, I figured it's also a good time. You know what? We'll just take a little side trip and talk about his sister Jade while we're here. And again, you can see here, she showed up as a Green Lantern on the show. When she originally came into the DC universe, she was, again, the daughter of the Green Lantern, but she had like this like Starlight or Starheart power inside of her. She was not an official Green Lantern with the ring when she first appeared, and not for a good chunk of her early run. It wasn't until like the 90s, I think Kyle Rayner gave her a ring, which is what we're going to get to. So this, again, is her first in the same book as her brother, Obsidian and Atom Smasher, All-Star Squadron 25. Again, you're probably not going to find that. But I like this book because you can find this Kyle Rayner book in those cheap boxes. This is a good run of his run are in the dollar boxes. His 90s Green Lantern run. So this is the issue where he gives Jade a Green Lantern ring and she officially joins the Green Lantern Corps. So I think it's a fun little book to find for a buck. So issue 107, he goes around in this issue offering it to everybody. This extra ring that he had, he was offering it to everybody he could think of until he eventually handed it to his girlfriend at the time, who happened to be Jade, because they were a thing there for a while there in the DC universe. So you can see here they having the conversation. Nobody wanted it. Nobody wanted to take the ring, but I think maybe the best choice was you. And then, again, she accepts it, she takes it, and then she becomes the newest Green Lantern at the time. So as we can see, she's Green Lantern on that show. So this is why I think this book is kind of interesting when I tie it into that kind of that TV show news, because she's a Green Lantern on the show. So let's go to when she first became a Green Lantern. Now, again, I told you this book's still cheap. It's not an expensive book. $2 to $4 is what this thing sells for with the most recent sales. And you want to find asking prices $4 to $8 at best, or what people are asking for online for this book. So again, not an expensive book, but you find this bright orange cover with the Green Lantern offering you a ring out there in a dollar box. Maybe think about picking it up. That's all I'm saying. So now finally we're going to kind of bounce back over to Marvel. I'm going to give you a little bit of Star Wars. It's a little bit of Star Wars here just to kind of wrap us up for the day. Donald Glover, yes, he apparently was on a late night talk show and was just a little coy with how he was responding about whether he's going to be part of this Lando Calrissian show that we might be getting on Disney Plus. I think that's one of the things that was announced, that we will be getting a Lando series of some kind. We don't know if it'll be Donald Glover playing the younger Lando, or if they're going to bring Billy D back and be like an older version of the character. We don't know anything yet. Pure speculation. Now, you might as well cover your bases and do both. So outside of picking up Lando's first appearance, Star Wars 43, which you're not going to find at a dollar bin anymore. His first Lando series from the 2015 run, this thing, you can find plenty of these. They made a lot of these. All of these first early minis, the Chewbacca one, the Princess Leia, those early issues of Star Wars, they printed tons and tons and tons of these. So there are a lot of these out there, and you can still find these things for cheap. But just because there's a lot out there doesn't mean that eventually demand might exceed that supply. So if you could find them for cheap, just grab a couple and stash them in a box, especially if you can get them for less than $1. Because as you'll be able to see with some of these purchases, look, 99 cents, 99 cents, $15 for all 5. Again, this is a 5-issue mini, so I'm saying if you can go scoop out that whole 5-issue mini series, $1 a piece, get the whole run for $5. That's a good idea. I think you should just grab it. Plus, you get to read it. So fun little read. But asking prices for this book are still pretty darn cheap. Look, there's 5 copies being offered there for $10. 5 copies of this issue for $10. Or you can see 5-issue the mini, $15 and $15. And even that one in the middle has one of the Scotty Young variants for issue 1, because there are a lot of covers for this as well. Not even talking about the incentives. There's a lot of like B covers and variants like the Scotty Young. There's tons of covers for this run. So just be mindful of that as well. But again, you can find these in dollar bins. So this is if you want to bank on it being an older Lando that we're getting. If you want to play the safe card and cover your bases for the younger Lando, you might want to get the second volume, the second Lando miniseries, Double or Nothing, because this follows the Donald Glover version of the character, the younger Lando. And they even draw him. Like, you can see Donald Glover a lot in these covers. The way that he's drawn looks like Donald Glover. And there are a couple of photo covers as well for this series. Again, another 5-issue mini. This is issue 1. I'm not showing you all 5 issues. Keep an eye out for all 5 of them. Again, they printed plenty of these. Really cool variants, too. The incentive variants are pretty cool on a few of these. So those are really tough. But you can see here, $3 for the first issue, even online. It doesn't sell for a lot. That was March 27th. And then $9 for the 5-issue mini. $9. That's less than $2 each for the entire mini series. So again, this is cheap stuff. It's not expensive right now, but who knows what could happen if we start getting news and more rumors and things like that, and we find out a little bit more what this Lando series might be. People might start looking into things like this because they're going to want comics to relate to the shows we're getting. Even if it's not a direct connection, people do like having that extra little bit of a touch point to a show that they're into. So we look at what's available as well. $2 you can get issue 1 for, or $6.50, or you can again buy that whole 5-issue mini for as cheap as $10. Not an expensive run. Something I just recommend is keeping an eye out for when you're flipping through those boxes, because it doesn't hurt. I don't think it hurts if you can find these things for $1 each. You grab the whole mini like I said, you get to read it, and then you have the whole set. And if something happens, you're prepared. If nothing happens, well, you only wasted $1 an issue. That's what I'm talking about here. So hopefully you don't mind these weird suggestions that I make based on the recent news and rumors of things that we've got coming. Because that's what I'm looking for. This is the kind of things that I do to kind of keep myself occupied while I'm digging through those boxes. So thanks for stopping by and checking this out. Hopefully you're still enjoying this series as well as everything else here on the channel. Let me know what you think in the comments. And if you got suggestions of some books and things you see, or even some news items that hit you during the week, send them my way. I could use them. I can always use some heads up on stuff, because I also cover the news when we do the tax show on Wednesdays. So if you find something interesting, you want to share it, hit me up on IG, put it in the comments down below. And I respond. I'll respond. You send me a message, I'll answer you. So with that all said, thank you again for checking this out. And check out the article over on comicbookinvest.com. And I will be back soon with some more content for you. All right. Later.